Hey guys, Loman02 here. I'm going to be doing a live recording today, but I hope, and I do hope the audio is at least somewhat decent. I'm kind of getting over something of a chest cold, and my voice is likely to be bad, so if I'm coughing and sound kind of effed up during this whole thing, well, I hope you can bear with it. So we're watching the first game that comes up, Spensbot versus Total Hate. Total Hate, historically, always on a very similar deck, 5-color control Scapeshift deck. Spencer appears to be on red-green. We'll see. Maybe beatdown, maybe ramp. I don't know. Alright, beatdown. Stampy. Okie doke. I'm gonna go on a quick pause, guys, and check out what's going on with what Sensei sent me, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, guys, back at it. Dustwatch Recruiter actually could be a cool card from my deck. Alrighty, what other games do we have going on? This will be Jund vs. 4-Color Blood. This would actually be an interesting game. I kind of want to check this one out because I think Boo's on a spicier list. I got to see the title of it. It's Blue-White Stacks. And Dots is probably on 4-Color Blood, would be my guess. Okay, so we have, well, Lingering Souls is always just a great card versus Control. Oh, Dust Bowl? Well, that could lock the game up. My assumption is Boo's Mongoose just has a very land-heavy hand. But the issue with Dust Bowling here is he's still going to be able to, or Dots is still going to be able to present threats. At least this turn, he could present another set of Lingering Souls. And I think what Boo's Mongoose's long game plan would be from taking this tact would be to eventually run him out of land mana sources and then Wrath of God the board in some way, shape, or form. It's kind of tough to incrementally attack the mana base of 4-Color Blood because it's just an aggressive deck. And like cards like this just kind of make the land destruction game kind of bad. So it looks like he's going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Alright, Kessig Wolf Run. Not bad. This is turn 4 for Total Hate. What do we got here? He's going to look at the cards, hopefully draw one. Tireless Tracker, very good one against most decks. A lot of good incremental value. I know he put that together pretty close to the tournament, but it looks like it's probably a pretty good deck. It looks pretty close to the one that Sung ran the other week. So Oblivion Ring, getting Bitter Blossom, which, seems like a necessity, but at this point, if Dots has the 4th land, or a mana source that can produce mana without costing any this turn, then he should be able to play on a Planeswalker, but it looks like he is in a decision cycle, which could mean he's out of mana. Could be stuck on 3. If his play is to play Lingering Souls out, I think he's in a little bit of trouble here. Because then Wrath of God becomes a lot more viable. Cutting him down essentially 1 mana source and getting rid of all his threats. Alright, well he has the mana. That could not fetch a basic forest, which is the only basic inside the 4-Color Blood deck, typically. Excuse me, guys. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, well, that's one of those cards. So the Planeswalkers are going to be the biggest problem for Blue-White, and once they resolve, you are in a world of hurt. That's like one of those weird things. Like sometimes it's almost better to just let like things like Bitter Blossom stick around for a bit, especially if you're a Wrath deck or a Sweeper deck, and eventually deal with them after you can protect yourself from a Planeswalker landing on the following turn with counter magic. But knowing that he has one Oblivion Ring out of hand, unless he's like holding a Detention Sphere or something like that, you know, it's gonna be tough. All right, Total Hate gets him. All right, he just didn't get mana. That's odd. I don't think it was worth conceding there, but I don't know. Well, Tamiyo is a fine card. I tend to not like her as much in this format. She's just a little bit too much mana, and a little bit too minor of an effect. I mean, obviously having like, you know, half of Frost Titan stapled to her is pretty good, and then the card draw ability is not irrelevant either. If you ever get to Ultimate her, I mean, the Ultimate on Tamiyo is like one of those things that can just probably never be beat. Once it's happened and you get to untap with it. It's a powerful card. It also will... Alright, well, Tamiyo's dead. There is no stopping that now. Alright, Deathrite. Well, now he really needs to Wrath and then follow it up with Counter Magic backed up by Detention Sphere. That looks like it's going to be very difficult because any of those cards, like Detention Sphere specifically that he could get, alright, nothing in hand that he could get. Is it all land? Geddon, Avenser, Ancient Den, Mystical Confluence. Alright, Mystical Confluence can bounce the spirits at a minimum. This is going to kill the poor Tamiyo, though. Bloodbraid Elf, you know, very strong card. Kind of a wimpier creature, unseemingly, but, you know, and because people haven't seen it played in, I believe, Modern, you know, for a while, you know, sometimes you lose a perspective on how good the card is. It was the card that essentially kept Jace the Mind Sculptor in check in that format before both cards were banned because they're just both absurd. Alright, so we see land. That's the thing with 4-color Blood. It could just win on so few lands. Because of the alternate mana sources on creatures, and because it's just very efficient. Like, it's just a very efficient deck. It has the most efficient removal and the most efficient threats in every color but blue. And tends to do a very good job with them. I'm going to go on a quick pause, guys, just to take care of something. Alright, sorry about that, guys. We'll get a little bit of water. Like I said, still trying to recover a little bit from ailment. Alright, so I'm going to check out another game. Who else would be interesting to look at? You see White Weenie versus Red Deck wins is what I assume there. Actually, let's check this one out. I kind of want to see what Sensei's on. We haven't had Sensei join the event in a while. I think he's only playing one round. But I always appreciate his decks. And actually, they're more akin... Oop. Oh, game has already been completed? I don't think so. Alright, maybe it has. Alright, that's in boards right now. Well, hopefully Moto doesn't break. It kind of looks like it is, though. This is going to be, yeah, Mystic Confluence, bouncing and probably drawing. Bouncing 2 and drawing 1. The thing is with, like, being a 2-color deck, he's got a lot of non-basics that I don't think you per se want. Yeah, so... My thing is here, like, you'd rather be like a back-to-basics deck, although back-to-basics is an expensive card. This feels like an Ajani. Okay, no, it's just a straight-up Elspeth, or Elspeth, Gideon, and Ajani were the 3 cards that came to mind. Could have been Sorin. I don't think he typically plays that card. Yeah, the game's over. Like, this game, you probably just pack it in and show him a little less cartage. He already got to see your hand, but... Yeah, this one, I think even with that, I mean, I guess you could buy one more turn. Oh, wait, is this at 7? No, you can't. He's just going to ultimate this and, like, cast some nonsense out and probably win. Even if you Wraths here. Chooses to shuffle. Okay. Well, he wisely used his blue source first and left up enough white to cast a Wrath effect of some sort. But that one wraps up. Alright, White Weenies. Oh, Thundermaw. That was a card, actually, Sarkhan, the Dragon Speaker. It's a card that's bugged on Gatherling, which stinks, so I ended up putting Darksteel Relic in my deck. But Thundermaw was actually the first card I put in there when I realized Sarkhan was kind of bugged, and I was like, you know, Thundermaw's a cool card, but it doesn't have the effect that I want it to have. It doesn't have the same effect that Sarkhan does in the game. Sarkhan's just removal plus a threat, which, in my opinion, is just better. Certainly in some situations, Thundermaw can be better against like Lingering Souls or something like that, but this is a very interesting attack to me. Oh, okay. Okay, it's double striking, so he wants to Exalted it. Um, so here, I mean, she's on 2 cards. If she has any removal spell for the Silverblade Paladin, I feel like the game's pretty locked up. He does have a lot of cards he could draw. The Deathblade, or the Death Gorger, I guess is not going to get in. Could at least gain her a life. That may be more relevant at this point. I actually meant to ask her how this card's been performing for her. It's a card that, when I first reviewed the Ixalan set for this format specifically, I thought was mildly interesting. I think the ones that interested me the most were Search, this card, and also Deadeye Tracker. There's a Thrun. He'll beg a block, and he's technically dead. Now, if he has an equipment, he can just win this turn, which means he should probably draw and see if he can like get into a Bone Splitter. Bone Splitter would win the game. Any actual sword would not. Well, she doesn't have a double attack with the Silverblade Paladin still. Alright, I don't think there are many cards. I mean, like, what do you do here? Unless you have, like, Holy Day in your deck and you can fog out damage next turn, I don't think this gets there. I guess he still could have drawn, Goldman still could have drawn into the Bone Splitter there. If he did not, or any, like, pump spell, if he runs pump spells. I don't tend to run pump spells in White Weenie, but it could be a thing. And actually, if he had, like, if he had, I'm trying to remember the card's name. The card that gives protection from one color to all white creatures you control, that actually is a lethal attack. He can have removal as well, which would beg some blocks. So down to 7. I think here you probably fire up the Treetop Village. Alright, if he's drawing, you just kill him. Like, there's nothing you can have on 0. I mean, there are, but like not things that he's probably playing. I guess you got like Shining Shoal. Shining Shoal and like the Shoal series are like the cards that I always use in this format to like explain how you could not lose on a turn where you're tapped down against overwhelming advantage. But here I think Goldlin is just dead. Dreg Mangler is pretty interesting. Certainly decent value. Alright, Soon gets him. And, this is White Weenie versus 4-color Blood. Ooh, Moto's weird. Um, well, all right, we're gonna try to get value out of the Stoneforge Mystic. What does it get now? Just a Batterskull? Maybe a Sophie? Oh, okay. Well, Stoneforge is one of those cards, one of the few cards that really White Weenie got blessed with. I mean, it's good in many other decks, but it's also very good in that deck. It allows you to not play like kind of bad cards like Stonehewer Giant. That's a card I used to play in this format. It was normally a curve topper in the deck, but the card is very powerful in a deck that generally wants to have equipments. I actually kind of like where Goldenlin is sitting right now. I think you just need to start swinging for the fences with the team here if you're Saknalas. It's going to be very difficult to win this, I think, but there's a chance that upon equip he could kill one of these things. I mean, he has to kill the mother now, though, so you need 2 removal spells in hand. It's an interesting game. I think Math Guy, rather. I'm sorry. Yeah, Math Guy is favored right now, but it's not per se true. Oh, did I make a faux pas? Did he already enter? Alright, yeah, he already entered. So what happens here? Well, you probably at least equip something with the sword. Anafenza is a big-time beater, though. That's interesting to me. You have protection from everything on that side of the board. Alright, he just wants to kill the Ajani. And then, what do you do after that? Equip the Stoneforge? It's an interesting line. I guess this allows you to conduct a block. Conduct a block on your turn, or on the opponent's turn, and also play on an equipment with the Stoneforge. Excuse me, guys. Really sorry about that. And if it bothers you that much, you probably just want to turn it off, because I think it'll be going on most of the day. I've been, getting over this crud. Alright, protection from black, but shadow on that thing. Well, I don't know here. I mean, 4-color blood can race. Saknalas' version is set up to race. Alright, so let's say we have ramp versus maybe like a 4-color like control deck. This game looks pretty sweet. Like I said, I really want to watch Sensei's game as it starts getting a little more lively to see what they're up to. That land I'm not a fan of, though. This is a Grixis land, right? Oop. Yeah. It's a Grixis land or it's Grixis for 2 mana, or it's just 1 colorless and you gain a random life off of it. Alright, I think he's a base Jeskai deck. Probably splashing a few like Lingering Soul, stuff like that. Maybe a couple black cards. But I think probably base Jeskai. Well, if my opponent's doing that, I'm actually okay with it, I think. I mean, if you have a counter, you probably counter it, but depending on what your next turn's play is, if you have like a threat or a wrath or something like that on the following turn, then you probably counter it just so they don't get more lands. But okay, yeah, memory lapse. If he can go memory lapse into wrath, I mean, given if he was doing that, he wouldn't have probably played the Mother of Runes, but he could have thought hey, if I put the Mother of Runes out there, which I don't think is going to be good in this matchup, then I could get my opponent to play more out into it. All right, just passing it back. Interesting. Quick pause again, guys. Okie doke. Leveling up the Tree Speaker again. Well, Well, that's interesting. The obvious problem is he's just out of mana. Well, he has a ton of it, but it's very fragile. So the weak point. All right, so he's double kicked back the Harmonize, so it's on top of the deck again. So his opponent's not drawing lands. Although Sensei is at 1 card, which is not good. To his opponent's 5. Abzan Beastmaster is actually a lot better than it looks here. That's a card engine. It's possibly one I could run in the deck I'm actually running right now, the red-green Fatties deck I'm running right now. It's just a lot of mana for a 2-1, though. In mono green, I think it's probably necessary, but... Alright, so Sensei is trying to thin his deck to draw spells. Really, most will do, but at this point, he probably needs an answer to the Abzan Beastmaster, which will out-card him. Well, he's already down on cards. Excuse me. As well as... Or a Wrath. Okay, so he's going for a Wrath. I might just Terminus here, just to be very efficient. It's... You know... Another option would be is go for... No, Dig Through Time wouldn't work. Bribery. Okay, well, Bribery's actually... No, that's actually a more strong proactive play. So, Bribery getting Primeval Titan, more than likely. Actually, does Craterhoof win right here? Let's do the math. So, 3 creatures. Yeah, +3/+3 each. No, it doesn't probably kill this turn. That's 5 + 3, 8. 5... +4. So 8, 5, 4, 17 damage if it goes through. No, it doesn't kill. Although it would set up for lethal on the following turn with the Mother of Runes, assuming that GQ1RF7 is actually just mono green, because Mother of Runes could pass through the Snappy. If he blocks the Abzan Beastmaster in that case, then he goes to 2. So he wouldn't block at all, would be my assumption. Well, that's a beating. Yeah, Golgari Charm is a board card that I tend to run in this deck as well, and it looks like it got him there. Got rid of the Mother of Runes. I don't think he per se had to lose that match, though. The White Weenie player, it felt like there was probably a line that he could have been a little more aggressive and probably closed it out more rapidly. I don't know if attacking the Ajani was right over just going to the face. And the Mother of Runes use was a little shifty to me because, as opposed to trying to use the sword, the onboard sword. Plus, you get the untap from that as well, which is not irrelevant because it allows you to play your creature out. All right, Primetime. Primetime's never a bad answer. Like, you know, I could have seen going for the Craterhoof that I assume is in that deck. But Primetime is probably going to bring more value. And what's green going to do about it, right? The thing is now, like, he really needs... I guess at this point, he's answered the card engine, which is good. But... I think he wants to look for probably some burn. Like, Arc Trail would be perfect here to answer the Avacyn's Pilgrim and the Jiraga Shri Speaker, because it's going to cut so much mana off from his opponent. Right now, he has a Devotion of 3, which means Nykthos is not net mana at this point. Alright, well, Wasteland is a way to kind of cut him off Nykthos, which is good. I could actually see his opponent blocking with the Abzan Beastmaster, depending on if he's able to use Nykthos effectively in his next turn. That's not going to do it. I think almost always it will, but Bribery is one of those things, you know? Well, let's see what other games are still ongoing. Alright, strong start from player Soong. Well, this game has gone long. I think It's either going to go real long or real short. Both decks can play a grindy game. All right, this game... Well, Dots obviously has expanded his board situation a lot faster. He obviously lost game 2 because he was on the play this game. Well, getting the untap is pretty big, but we got a Deus out. Deus is huge. I think you just attack here with the Primeval Titan, and he may or may not want to block that. Alright, so maybe he drew Wrath here. 4 free lands for a card, plus getting probably the best card in the ramp deck out of their deck. I mean, that's arguable. Situationally, there are certainly better cards in the deck, but Primeval Titan is probably the best quality card, plus like Natural Order in the deck. That's certainly the power move on turn 3 or whatever. That's one of the things the deck I'm going to be running today does as well. Obviously, one of the big things we'll see some of these decks lost down on this cards like Natural. All right, that's why he did it. He didn't draw Wrath. He drew FTK. Yeah. Well, he's going to draw a card here, but he has no mana, and he's at 8 life. And there's a bazillion man lands attacking back. Even if he attacks the Deus and kills a land, it's like, who cares, man? I think he was kind of boxed into trading for the Titan there. I would have traded for the Titan there. I think it is the play that wins you the most moves. Sapseed Forest, yeah, that's not going to stem the bleeding, I don't think, against like a bazillion man lands. Is the next attack just lethal? I mean, if the opponent allows you to block the Primeval Titan, I mean, I guess the Mother of Runes kind of stymies all of this. Alright, that's just game. That's a nasty top deck, though. Certainly one of the better ones to end the game right here and right now. And if I were him, he should not choose to find lands here because he doesn't want to reveal any more of his mana base to his opponent. His opponent can certainly abuse this mana base if he's running stuff like Hall of Gemstones. That would be brutal. Alright, we'll go ahead and close that one up for now. Let's see how this match is getting along. Okay, yeah, Sung appears to be winning this one with her Jund build. Flint of Boar is one of those cards that is always like sneakingly pretty good in these style of decks. It's obviously a little less so when you're on a filter land, a non-helpful or non-mountain dual land in a Dragon Skull Summit. But it's kind of like a modern day Curd Apes. Maybe not quite as good as like, you know, Wild Nacatl, which was also kind of like a slightly upgraded version of Curd Apes, but certainly good. This feels like a Planeswalker of some sort. Is it like a Nissa? Oh, no, okay, it's Thrag Dusk. This game can probably be conceded by Golden Lid at this point. I'm going to go ahead and kill this one, guys, because it looks like a stomping. Actually, let's see how these two are getting along. Well, Duress is a good draw there. He's just leaving up counter magic at this point, but Duress is going to stymie that next turn. I wouldn't be shocked if he does not fetch here because I think he would like to draw that. Alright, game's over. He's got to counter this. He'll resolve another 2-drop. Obviously, he'll lose the Duress in that case, but he's got to counter this at this point because he obviously needs the... Alright, Force of Will. Okay. Well, that means he can still counter the other 2-drop, which is good for him because he lives another turn on his current board. But he does need a Wrath here, realistically. Well, we know he's playing Geddon in the decks. We saw it the first game. Yeah, there we go. Wrath. And, obviously, he would have rather saved the Wrath there. But, you know, this isn't all bad for Dots either because he's still going to have half a threat. He has 4. which means that Planeswalkers are certainly live. The question now is, does he want to save his Duress? This is what he's asking himself. Do I want to save his Duress? Or if I do not have a 4-mana Planeswalker in my hand, do I want to shuffle twice? Or have two options to shuffle to try to find one on my top deck? I don't know. There's too much hidden information for me to really know the answer to that. His opponent is not likely to have another Force of Will. If he does, his deck's illegal. The only card he could really have to punish, finding a 4-mana Planeswalker here, which is what I think Dots is doing, is tap Daze. If he runs it, which I don't think would be a card this deck would tend to like. All right, Maelstrom Pulse is certainly not what he was looking for. That'll come into play tapped, I would think, and then he will shuffle again. By taking this line, you commit yourself to shuffling twice if you don't find it after the first shuffle. But I think he's looking for a Planeswalker because there's just recurring value. But I do also think he has like a 2-mana creature in his hand as well. Like maybe a Grimflayer, maybe like a Sylvan Advocate or something like that. Or he doesn't fetch here. Interesting. Well, he wants Maelstrom Pulse. That will allow him to answer the first Planeswalker threat that Booze plays. But if he has his own here, then, I mean, that's good. Alright, this appears to be like a Garruk or something. And this does play around Daze, obviously, so there's really nothing other than like Pact of Negation, Stifle, that could get him here. I guess Disrupting Shoal or Foil or like Thwart or some bad cards like those could do it. All right, we're Green's doesn't see anything for Anafenza or Doran or I don't know. 3's interesting. He is playing around Daze though, I think, which means it may be in his opponent's deck. I could go and look, but I'm not going to do that. I don't really want to know his exact list. That's just kind of... It would give me, if I end up playing the player, an unfair... Yeah, that's a very good one right there. All right, so I get this set up then. Yeah, this is a card engine, which is going to allow him to kind of outcard the control deck. So it basically says, hey, have another Wrath, dude, or I'm going to draw a bazillion cards. And he gets a free card at some point here. And obviously at a loss of efficiency, but I think at the end of the day, what 4-Color Blood wants to do in a matchup like this is just kind of outcard the control deck. And your cards will tend to be better than theirs too. They're just less specific. Alright, Wrath of God. No, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Alright, he's drawing 3. This really doesn't bode well for him. Maelstrom Pulse is in hand, so the next thing he plays can, be dealt with. The Jace is dead. Actually, I mean, if he fetches here, he's just dead, right? Because he could pump the Tireless Tracker into a 4-power attacker. That's 6 damage. He could just kill this turn, too, right? If he plays any land, he kills this turn, too. He could just double pump the Tireless Tracker and hit for 7. And just ignore the Jace. I don't think that's what he has, though. I mean, I guess you pop the clue first, given that you could just win this turn and see if you find a land. And if you do, great, you win. If you don't, well, okay. Alright, he did not find a land. I mean, the chances of him finding relevant cards, though, are pretty high, I think. Alright, so he's attacking... Alright, so he can't kill, so he goes for the disciplined play and hits the Jace. Alright, he's playing around like a Path to Exile or something. Although... I mean, if his opponent has, like, a Path to Exile or Plow, I didn't put him on that. I don't think he had it. Sort of Feast and Famine. Are you going to Spell Pierce this? Spell Pierce feels like the play here. Yep. Okay. Which I think is good, because I think you'd rather get a Planeswalker with that, but the sword is going to make every card a threat. Every creature card a threat. I think there was definitely credence to just like smashing Booze in the face. Like drawing the one card if you don't hit the land to win this turn. Just Maelstrom pulsing. Oh, the Brainstorm wasn't good? Okay. Well, when you run a landed deck, sometimes it happens, man. Yeah, I think Dot's line... Well, it's a thing sometimes. Yeah. Huh. Interesting, interesting. All right, let's check this one out here. For the round, wraps up, and we'll get to play our own game in round 2. I don't think we can get 2 buys in a row. At least I hope not. I'd prefer to play than get buys, but... Okie doke. Yeah, Mono Green appears to be doing its thing here. Rafellos is just... I have it in my deck, and it's just ridiculous, right? Even when it only, like... I have a 2-color deck. Even when it only, like, you know, pumps for, like, 2 mana or 3 mana, it's still just a ton for a 2-drop. Alright, so... He's passing it here. Well, I don't think that bodes well for the Sensei. I think he's going to get overrun here. Unless he has, like, comeuppance or some random stuff like that. Alright, just mono huge things. Comeuppance would be pretty sweet. Just kill your whole team. Well, I guess the Leatherback wouldn't die. The Swiftfoot boots. Okay, well, it looks like we're on to round 2, guys, so I'm going to go on a quick pause. We'll be right back. Alright, guys, well, we're back at it. We're playing against Player Soong. Very strong player. And hopefully, I get to cast Mono Fatties. This is a keep. It's not a good hand, but this deck does. It just has 40 lands and casts, like, mono crap, big crap, and draws stuff off the top. Rather be on the play with this hand than a draw. Yeah, I'm keeping this. Let's just... Might as well. That's what this deck does. You're supposed to do. Like, just might as well. Like, it's got enough mana. It can cast spells. Acidic Slime is a good, you know, value card. I've got Ramp. Got an FTK now, which come down on turn 3. The birds will probably die, so maybe not. Although, I mean, if she spends a turn killing my birds, I don't care with this hand, because this hand doesn't really do anything on turn 3. Turn 4, it can cast a Kavu with the birds. Alright, Sylvan Caryatid, so we've got some ramp on her end. I'm just going to play a forest and say go. I could have played out one of the non-basics. Obviously, Flametongue Kavu is pretty bad against Sylvan Caryatid, so I can't blow that mana dork up. But if she plays like a 4-drop here... My guess would be if she has the ability to play a threat and kill the bird, she'll do that this turn, because it'll stymie whatever she has to expect. So yeah, it just really depends on if the birds die here. I mean, what would be the best thing for me? Like, just for her to cast, or just to attack with the, the Treetop Village, or play something that dies to Kavu. This looks like a walker, though. Well, it's a red-green card. Alright, Flametongue Kavu is going to blow up my birds. Okay, well, I'm back on mana. But, meh. Might as well, am I right? Well, don't might as well, am I right? Just going to play another forest out. This is a comeback from behind deck. We're going to either take a 7-hit here or have another threat hit the board, but I think FTK is going to allow me to kill whatever her next play is if it's not a Planeswalker. And then trade off with her Flametongue Kavu, and then eventually get this slime down to blow up the Treetop Village and kind of fog whatever other threats she's able to play. Okay, I like this because I can FTK the Courser and have a blocker left back behind. Now, what I don't like is that I've got a Stormbreath Dragon coming my way, which could be a tough card to beat. I mean, she has a Tectonic Edge, which can blow up any of my non-basics. So going second definitely hurt me this game. I think we'd be sizably further ahead if we were able to, or had been able to cast our spells. Because here, all right, do we have a kill spell? Yeah, whatever, that's fine. So we're gonna have the dragon hit this turn, and take 8. Not good. Not good at all. Well, I need to find an answer to the dragon pretty quickly. So that's rough, but hey, what can you do? If she has another burn spell, we just lose here. Yep, she had it. All right, let's go ahead and concede this one. Hand was a little slow. On the play, I think we probably could have won that, though. But, you know, we did draw into more lands than she did, and we kept a land-rich hand. So, let's see how it can do on the play. She's on a multicolored mana base, so Blood Moons and this are going to seem good. This seems good. This seems good. What else do I like? Ancient Grunge is probably fine, but I don't think necessary. I probably don't need this sword in this matchup. I do like Sword of Feast and Famine, though. Conclave Naturalist seems like it doesn't quite do enough for me. Den Protector is pretty slow. I'm going to cut that as well. And then probably one more 3. And what's that 3 going to be? Probably just the Wood Elves, I think. It does the least to attack. It's a good chumper, but let's go with this right here and see how we do. The dragon was a pretty good draw for her, and it's possible that we wanted to wait, but if she just alpha'd with the treetop, I'd wait on the Flametongue Kavu to use it on the dragon, but I don't know. Her hand did cap at perfect mana, though, for how the draw played out. So, you know, that is good. We could have mulliganed more aggressively on the draw. Maybe we should have. I don't know. I feel like you're going to tend to have a lot of lands in a 40-card or 40-land deck, though. So that ended relatively quickly. Hopefully, some of our land hate, like Blood Moon and Magus the Moon, can kind of screw out of mana. Or Dwarven Blast Miner, or the regular Dwarven Miner. Those could be fine, too. Alright, well, let's see how we can do on the play. Yes, a keep. We got Grim Lavamancer to kind of answer, you know, early mana dorks. Arlinn Kord to mop up after the moon. My hope is that this thing just eats, you know, removal on turn 1, and she doesn't play a dork out. Hopefully it's not a discard effect. Fatal Push? Nope, we're going to get Thoughtseize, which I assume would take the Magus of the moon. But it does also fuel our Grim Lavamancer, and we have a Blood Moon in the deck, too. I mean, there could be games where she takes Arlinn Kord here, but I doubt that's going to be the case, unless she has like a Firebolt in hand or something like that. Yeah, okay, that makes sense to me. That was the card that brought the hand together the most. I'm going to leave this back, and if she wants to play something that dies to it, I will certainly use it. And let me delete some videos real quick, guys. That's cool. I think I saved that, actually. Well, wait, let me think here. No, I don't. Done. And we're going for Rofellos here. And saying, hey, have removal. Or be able to get rid of my Dragon Lord Atarka, but have removal, really. You can get your 4 in. Okay, Courser. Yeah, it's probably not going to go very well for you here, but I don't know. Atarka is just huge. I'll actually probably block here. Because even if she has like a bunch of burns, she can like 3-for-1 herself on the Atarka and kill it. Like, I have the Eternal Witness now, which I'm kind of looking at. Alright, she drew into a City of Brass. Okay, Garruk is pretty good. Okay. Well, I have the Arlinn Kord to deal with that. Yes, I would. Well, that's pretty redonkulous. Okay, yeah, she just goes in and says, nope, I'm good. Alrighty, well, cool. Not that either of these games have been deeply interactive. This isn't a deck I'd typically play, guys. I don't get as much fun out of it. I would typically play something a little lower to the ground like she's playing, or like 4-Color Blood. Those are my kind of decks. Just efficient, you know, pretty match-neutral decks. This is not a match-neutral deck. It's just, it's good against certain things. And it has to get a bit lucky, but I think it was, and probably still is, decently good in the metagame we have now. Here we go again. My draw was good there, too. This draw needs a threat. It can cast Incinerate, right? I can pump Drog on turn 2. And it can get... Alright, this is a keep. Alright. There is a dirtbag side of me that is like cheering that she's mulled to 4. But she's also a good player, so she'll keep the best 4 she can. Alright. Welp. Birds go. Mana neutral on this one. Taiga on this. Burn off the elves. Now we got to find a way to win, but we have pretty sizable advantage. Guy's Cradle. No one ever said it was fair. This is not a fast way to win, but I could have cycled Sheltered Thicket, but I feel like I need to see what she's up to here. All right, she got a land. Good for her. She has like a Pyroclasm. She could turn this whole thing around. I doubt she runs that, but just looking at some of the cards she had, but she could. You know, Abrupt Decay, something? No, just a Grim Flare. Cool. Well. Okay, yeah. I mean, that does it. Inferno Titan on turn 4. Unbeatable, probably. Well, for her deck. That was pretty savage, guys. I don't think those were bound to be good matchups. I think, you know, if she had the interaction she needed early and was able to kind of like get me on a dead-end draw, kind of like we had in the first game, where she just out-tempoed us, and we didn't really draw anything to get out of it. You know, so we just lost. But, you know, in those last 2 games, we got a little lucky with our draws and, you know, ended up just kind of, you know, pretty savagely beating her. I think she can win that. Alrighty, so let's check out some more games here. That was pretty quick. Oh, it's the mirror. What do you think, guys? I actually want to watch this. This is 4-color shift against a Geddon deck, against what he called stacks. So wait, did... I have to recheck who won what. Hmm. So, O'Dot's got pared down. I'm sorry, so it's Booze versus T-Hate, who I thought was also 1X. I didn't think he lost one. No, Total Hate was the #1 player. That's a weird pairing to see then. Because Booze had lost his first round. Although here, it looks like Booze is beating up, Elsbeth and some other nonsense. With a bunch of indestructible 1/1s. Search for his Kanta could do something. Humility is going to actually be pretty good, though. So, the thing that he's on 2 cards is 3 with a Tamiyo emblem in play. Well, if he has a counterspell, the game just friggin' ends, right? Yeah. But if he can find Escape Shift and there's no counter magic, then maybe not. But it looks like T-Hate's actually going to lose this one. And it's funny because, like, Total Hate's deck, I think, is actually very, very strong. But, like, against, like, a stack strategy, I think it's actually bad. The problem with stacks is like no one wants to play stacks because it's just bad versus like aggressive decks. Like stacks is bad when they go 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop. All right, you're dead. You know, like oh, you're gonna blow my lands up, cool, dude. Like now you're effing dead. Because I like to blow lands up too when I'm on an aggro deck. I'm like, hey, just cast a Geddon. He blocks there. I think pretty aptly. Probably does not have a lot of disenchant effects in his deck. He may, but he may not, and just decides, hey, like this humility is probably here to stay. I need to win with Scape Shift. So he's on 18 life, which is relevant because his opponent, Total Hate's currently on 7 lands, which means that Scape Shift would be lethal if it cannot be countered. Now, this is where you almost wish like MTGO had like a show hand button in it. You'd be like, hey, dude, I got the counter spell. I've got the Tamiyo emblem. I can cast it like 3 times next turn. So you can't draw, enough cards. You can't draw enough cards unless they're like, 4-way split cards that all say like, something unbeatable, but we don't know that. He's gonna manipulate some ice here, and I think I actually would have tapped down. He may not know his deck as well. I would have tapped down Stomping Ground here because I want to keep him off double green because I think that's his only route to victory. Total Hate, that is. I do think it's very cool that there's an Icy Manipulator being played, though. I am a huge fan of the card. I play it in Old School. Well, it looks like he would have had fixing to get Tropical Island, which would have allowed him to cast the spell he's looking for regardless here. This is the last turn he has, so if he's going for Search for his Kanta, it means he missed. Well, he's got something. He's going for something here. I don't know what it is. All right, he's trying to shift. I think he's going to try to shift here. But we'll see. Because Green Sun Zenith wouldn't make sense here. I mean, what are you going to get? Primeval Titan? It's cool, dude. Yeah, you need to untap the Stomping Ground, I think, and you get green, unless that's not what he has. I don't know what he has, but you could have a draw spell, like a Pull from Tomorrows or something like that. Alright, Search for his Kanta. Or it could be like Sphinx's Rev is another thing. Would that even keep him alive, though? I think it would be very close. Nope, Bring to Light for Scape Shift. And Counterspell. Yeah, that's where you can see the game. Because you can counter it, but it's going to go back to hand after you counter it. Anyways, so... that was a pretty clutch draw, though, or, have on his part. Yeah, so... Crucible probably not necessary as much with or Tamiyo emblem. Yeah, I think you go ahead and pack it in here, but that's just me. All right, well, game 2 or 3 here. Let's look at some other games. I kind of want to see how these two are getting along here. They're playing very similar decks. Both are on 4-color blood. Both very strong decks. Well, oh, with a bazillion Bitter Blossoms in play. Oh. Well. But Deathrite... Deathrite gets stopped by the Scavenging Ooze. What do I do here? Well, at a minimum, I think you chump the knight. At this point in the game, with both players hellbent, it may be right just to let the Bob get his 2 in. But I don't know. It's not even like deterministically true. The Aven Mind Sensor's not really probably doing very much for you with him on 1 card. The deck's not a tutor-heavy deck. He wants to evidently keep the Bob around. There are cards you can draw that would punish that. I think you want to attack with it, honestly. I think you want to let your opponent... I don't know. Maybe you don't want to let your opponent have the choice. You let your opponent know you want that thing dead, but it also opens up their ground attacks as well. Yeah, so the interesting thing is here, this allows a backswing with Siege Rhinoceros on the following turn. So he goes for the Bayou. I assume he will exile with the Scavenging Ooze here. I mean, if anything, it does prevent him from gaining life, 1 life on the following turn if he does that, and it limits his plays. So I don't know. Yeah, so that's going away. I don't know if that was a ploy by Saknalis or not. I think he's a technically sound player, but I've never found him to be particularly tricky like that. Like, doing something like this to, gain an increment of, 1 life, or to limit possibility of plays in post-combat. So, alright, that allows him to block there, which is solid. And he's going to chump one of the Bitter Blossom tokens out. And now the Ooze can only grow to a 4/4, which means he could double block with a Fey Rogue and the Ooze, but he would lose the Ooze in the process, but also kill the Rhinoceros. I don't know if I like blocking the Bob there. I think you can actually race this and allow him to, hopefully draw into, just a 3 or 4 mana, or a 4-mana Planeswalker. I guess his deck is pretty efficient. You may only get, 1 or 2, 1 lightning bolt off it in 2 turns. So, I don't think he runs Crop Rotation. He's going to cast something else here. If it's removal for the Scavenging Ooze, then I think Saknalis has this locked up. All right, well, we're fetching over here and starting off the game with the Deathrite Shaman. Very strong start for Total Hate. All right, we've got a Fleecemane Lion, which is a fine card. Alrighty. Well then. Life points are going to matter very much here. Alright, going to try to exile that, but the Sylvan Caryatid can pump the Ooze, the old Scoozy. So he didn't draw removal. He used 2 cards up to Saknalis' 0. Huntmaster is strong here. Some life gain is going to do him well. I think you attack with the Rhinoceros here, actually. He could ultimate the, not ultimate, but monstrous the Fleecemane on the following turn. That's a lot of mana commitment. This is a very passive line. I don't think it's going to do him well. I think you need to chip a little bit on him. I think it's going to be very tough to bank on Bitter Blossom, which is essentially doing lightning bolt damage every turn, to win you the game. And if he did Monstrous the Fleece Mane, then that would also mean the Huntmaster is likely to flip. Alright, so we're going to do our lightning bolt damage here. Yeah, this has advantage the player that's had the longer standing Blossom. What are his power draws here? Lingering Souls would be good. The Scoozy can grow to, well, roughly infinity. Which, no, you don't want to do that. So he goes down to 7 here. Chump out with Wolf. What happens if he just blocks with the Fey Rogue on the Scoozy and takes 3 and counter swings for a bunch? Meh. Not good. Yeah, this isn't looking good here for the Stax player. So an early Glenalandra, Eternal Witness, likely for the fetch land that's in there. Brainstorm, meh. If he has a fetch, very powerful. If not, he's just finding the best card and hopefully a shuffle effect. If not, just the best card in the top 3 for this turn. So I don't know. Alright, well, a Mind Stone. Supreme Verdict was probably more so what you needed there. You're just getting beat down by 3 power and getting drained off. I mean, you'll just eat the land, right? I guess it prevents some damage. Okay, well, that's going to get countered. Interesting. I don't know why that's that relevant, because you have Deathrite Shaman. You can just get rid of the Windswept Heath. I guess you also have Volra Stronghold, which can recurse it, which is pretty good. Alright, well, what have we got here? Alright, so Nocnalis' turn is ended. He has 1 card in hand, played the land that I think he was sacking in hand, and hopefully for him he's drawn a removal spell. Dots has had a good top deck, so he's hit Fleece Mane into Voice of Resurgence, which is not bad, but with inactive Skoos, this still doesn't work. I'm going to try to, but he'll just pay another mana and do it again off of his Sylvan Caryatid or his Elvish Mystic. He doesn't have removal at this point. I think he would have just slammed removal on his own turn against the Scavenging Ooze, because if you have removal and you used against the Voice of Resurgence on their turn, it's obviously pretty bad. You just give them two extra cards, essentially, as opposed to 1. So, Alright, so Huntmaster of the Fells flips. I would assume it probably kills, what, the voice? The voice would be huge at that point, though. I think you just, yeah, just a flyer. Yeah. Okay. Gets 2 damage in there. He could be dead this turn, though, right? Yeah. Not looking good. Yeah, so it's come down to, I think, kind of top decks in this one here. I didn't see the early sequencing or plays. Having early Bitter Blossom is good. But we know for a fact, at least, Sognalis has had extra mana this game. Like, so when you look at 6 lands on one side and 4 on the other, that's generally an indicator of who's winning the game in 4-color blood. Now, if they have like 1, then it's obviously not good. But like 4 is like ideal. 4-color blood. Like, he could never draw another land and be fine with what he's got going on right now. Obviously, it makes man lands a little harder to use, but it's pretty ideal to cap at that point. Well, you can transmute the voice into a size infinite creature. The ooze has become a must block. Huh. So I don't know here. Ooze is also just like, if you've never played with ooze, like, just give it a shot one time. Like, that card is such a disgustingly bombastic card. Like, it I mean, it's randomly hateful, and like, it just does so much. Like, it just does so much. It shrinks Goyfs, gets huge. Like, no one really wants to spend removal on it because it doesn't seem that great, but it always is. Like, I've never been really upset with the card when I've drawn it, and like, it just tends to break mid-range games. All right, well, he's gonna chump out with the land. I guess one positive side effect of having a bunch of lands is that you get to do this. And did you draw a lightning bolt too? Oh man, yeah. Dots' top deck has been very live this game. So he's drawn 3 spells in the last 3 turns, which is very good for him. It's a rough metric beating for poor Sognalis here, who I think is gonna get dragged down this game. All right, takes 4. All right, he blocks that and makes it a size infinite creature. So, plus a big blocker back. And another thing for the Scavenging Ooze to eat. Alright, so we drew Lightning Helix? A Johnny? Maybe, I don't know. Alright, a Coder, which is bad against... Alright, again, Scavenging Ooze. Scavenging Ooze just, like, wrecks some things. Wrecks so many things, really. Qasali Pridemage, I think if you had that in hand, you wanted that out there a long time ago. Yeah. Because... Yeah, you definitely did, because if you could have dealt with this Bitter Blossom, actually, he could have eked out some very incremental, but like pretty big advantage in the air, and just killed him. There we go. Okay. So that's out of the picture. You don't really have an attack here. Thing is, he also needs to gain life. Yep. I still think this game's going to Dots. His clock's obviously getting kind of low, but it'll be a very grindy game. But again, I think when it comes... Okay, well, he's got a flip here. That's actually really good for him. That gives him a chump blocker for the use. And it gives him 2 life, which is going to be big here. Really, Blossom's just become a blocker for the Elemental at this point. It's become Black Force Field. Ajani? Yeah, his top deck has been live. Like, just live. This feels like an Ajani. Or a Garruk. Either one would be pretty game-breaking, especially like Garruk is like, at that point, like, you just pump your team the next turn and just win. Alright, we're going to Monstrous the Fleece Mane here, I think. Oh. I mean, that has a blocker, though. It would just be the... or he's going to activate a man land. That could be the other thing he's doing. Activate the Raging Ravine. Yep. Okie doke. And then just what? Alpha Strike with all. Has he expent a Wasteland yet? Coder could get Wasteland to knock out the other manland if this manland doesn't die. So what blocks do I like here? Well, block Siege Rhinoceros on, yeah, Rage Ravine. All right, he realized he can't attack with that because the Siege Rhino actually does a number on him here. Well, he wants to trade there. I think the Coder is worth keeping around. You obviously can't take 9 damage either. Alright, Deathrite, yeah, it has been kind of worthless. It is going to fuel the ooze, but... he didn't cast any spells this turn either, which means Huntmaster will reflip and get to kill another flyer, which is good. Just going to exile a land from Dot's graveyard. Oh, Dot's going to time out. Isn't he? Yep. Alright. Probably kill the flyer here. Yeah, Dots is possibly going to time out. So the name of the game is Stay Alive here. Because he can block with Coder. Alright, that's fine. But you can block with Knight of the Reliquary, find Wasteland, and blow up the manland, which gives you another blocker, essentially, because you can block and then do it in response. Yeah. Alright, Saknalas gets him on time. Pretty cool. Stinks to see a game end that way, because I don't think he was per se winning it, but it does happen. You got to play the clock as well. All right, guys, let's go check and see who we're paired against next. If everyone's already submitted, no, they have not. All right. Well, this is the matchup we wanted, is 4-color blood. And quick break, guys. All right, guys, we're live. I think we have to mulligan this. It's not very good. This is great. Yeah, I'll put him on top. And go. Well, if this doesn't get removed, then it's very good for us. Fleecemane is fine. You get Fatal pushed. Thoughtseize for natural order, I would assume. But I'm getting Garruk next turn. Or I could just Sark. No, I can't Sarkin yet. Believe you probably just take the natural order. If you leave natural order in my hand, you're crazy. Although Ooze is kind of a nasty card to see. Yep. Now if I draw an untapped land, I'll probably Ooze here. Unless my Jiraga dies, which I hope it doesn't. Alright, well Jiraga's probably going to get Abrupticate here. Yep, going to get Shriekmaw. Cool. Well, I think the play here is just the Valakut. And Bayu was the draw. No white mana of note. Good answers all around by our opponent there. But that's what 4-color blood does. All right, so you know he has Bayu in hand. And now another green mana. I wonder why he fetched there. Double red spell, Chandra. Okay. Yep. That actually is fine by me. You can do 1 damage to me. Well, here what we're going to do is create a wolf. If he has another white mana, alright, Bitter Blossom, don't really care about that. Have Acidic Slime for it. Alright, Arc Trail. And he can kill my Garruk off. And draw a card with Chandra if he likes, or find one. Which I presume is what he does here. No, he's going to damage me. Interesting. And play Blossom. Play Fleecemane, possibly. Blossom, cool. Nope, hurry up. Game. Cool. Well, we ran the Bob Gambit there and won it. It's typically not a good plan, but after kind of seeing the Blossom, I was like, hey, let's just smash face and see what we can do. Now, post-board, I think it gets a lot better for us. He should not have a lot to bring in. And I only have 4, truth be told, but they're going to tend to be better than the ones he brings in. Don't really want this. What else don't I need in this? Lotus Cobra should be in this deck. I built this deck so fast and loose, I'll be honest. It really requires more tuning. I should probably send it over to Johnny Rogue, who's like the biggest red-green 100-card player. Alright, what else don't I think I need in this? Fierce Impact's kind of slow. What else is kind of, It's just ramp, but it's expensive. Garruk is, I like the value against this deck. I don't think it's a fatty that comes out. The fatties are kind of what wins this matchup. Maybe it's just a land on the draw, like one mountain comes out. Yeah, I like that. And then one more card to cut, probably Rampant Growth, because it's just kind of meh. That card probably shouldn't be in there anyways. I just put it in there because I needed another like effect that put a land into play, and like I'm on the draw here. I can go to 39 lands. I think against this deck, somebody be running mostly basics. I don't think he can bring a land hate against me. He might because he saw Valakut. There's a keep. Go. Alright, we're going to lead on Cinderglade here. Go. And we'll probably incinerate whatever his first play is. That is your first play? Yeah, I mean, I guess we do. Just to keep him lower on mana. And we can Fierce Empath next turn. Or, which actually makes sense, because then we can go and do... Alright, that thing's fine. Maybe it was right to go for Eternal Witness, because next turn I could, like, burn off whatever he plays. Or I think he's out of mana. Sword of Feast and Famine. Well, that's problematic. Well, that's really good. I'm going to attack here. And then I'm going to probably just do that. It's actually also... Yeah. It's attack... Because I can go into Conclave Naturalist or Acidic Slime here. I remember I cut the Naturalist out of the deck. Is it Naturalist here? Storm Breath is certainly interesting, but I would have done that prior to combat. The sword is still going to be a problem. It's not Rexage when I can get the bigger card. Flametongue Kavu doesn't deal with both halves of this card. Acidic Slime is just smaller, so let's just put this Bro onto the board, kill the sword, and say go. And hope to draw a land next turn so we can go Fierce Empath plus or Garruk plus Fierce Empath. I mean, if we draw a land, we could also just Sarkin him, depending on what he does this turn. Yeah, that's cool, dude. More slow mana. Just untap the 2 lands that can't get wastelanded. And I feel pretty good here. Land would have, like, I think, locked it up. We'll get in there with our 4/4, put him down to 13, kind of put him on the ropes a little bit. Okay, this is cool. This is good. Okay. Yeah, I don't really care if that dies. That was really just meant to deal with sword and kind of put a slight clock on you. I mean, we could even Eternal Witness the damn thing back. We could Eternal Witness back some burn if we needed to here, but I think what I would prefer to do... Oh, I don't worry too much, man. I never like winning that way, you know? Well, this way. I'm not a big RG fan, and I might not be winning this game. I don't know, but I feel like I probably am. Alright, cool. Whatever. You can hit my Garruk for 1. Good deal, good deal. What did he return? Voice? Yeah, whatever. It's a value card, but this deck doesn't care about value. It just cares about going way over the friggin' top of whatever, you know. So Voice is a good card, but it does not shine in this matchup. Let's just say that. What Inferno Titan, a Tarka, or Primeval Titan? Probably just Inferno Dad. Inferno Dad is kind of like the signature card of this deck for beating what I think is good right now in this, or what is being played right now in this meta. Alright, so you're getting in there. We're just going to get Burst Lightning now. Yep. Just so this thing doesn't become massive on his turn, then I can't deal with it. Yep. And because I'm just buying time. I just don't want my Garruk to die and not be able to cast assuredly. I mean, if I draw a land, I'll just cast Primeval Titan anyways on the following turn. Your go. Yep, that's fine. That's going to die again for free, essentially. May have like a Terminate or something. Okay, okay. Well, this is actually just probably going to get a basic forest. Alright, Inferno, a Titanio. Just ridiculous. And 1 to you. Yep. Okay. And actually, I don't even think I attack this turn. Just due to the fact that... I mean... Does it matter that much? Yeah, it does a little bit. We're not going to attack this turn. We're going to hang back, because Garruk obviously makes all of these threats just a little better, and with a haste threat in hand under Sarkin, the Dragon Speaker, I don't think I can lose this now. Even if he has like a good 4-mana Planeswalker here. Alright, he's not going to take the damage here. I'm just playing my lands down. I know it's not right. I mean, I guess it is actually technically right because I get to pump twice on the Inferno Dad. Enter the dragon. Everyone beat with a friggin' big old stick. This is just like... This is a one shot. Okay. Good game, man. Alright, so... Picked up the bye round 1 and have had some pretty good draws so far in the games we played. I think the deck is decently well built. There are certainly some things that need to happen with it, but yeah. Well, Sung just got dots, which is pretty cool. Or he just didn't feel like playing, I don't know. What do I feel like watching here? Let's see what these two... I forget what GQ's on. I think it may have been... Yeah, the ramp deck. What are the standings like right now? Or who... Alright, GQ's on ramp, and he's actually undefeated right now. T-Hate's undefeated. Socknollis was undefeated. Okay. So there's no possibility of finals today. I'd rather face mono green ramp than I would 5-color. I think it's a pretty even match here, though. Well, 5-color has more play to it, so I think... That's one of the things I don't care about with the deck I'm on, is I feel like when it wins spectacularly, like in the games we've been in. But when there is like a very close game, sometimes you just don't have the options to outplay your opponent in a very close game where draws are fairly even. But when you have a good draw, it's just like, I win. You know, like you just play the cards and you win. Like Inferno Titan, which was kind of the card that I think I'm most templated for, just to win rapidly and also get rid of a bunch of weenie creatures. Was kind of templated for both breaking the 4-color Blood Mirror and also the White Weenie Mirror, which I expected more of. Well, I expected to face more of. There was a decent bit of it, I believe, in today's tournament, but I didn't face off with it, and some of that has to do with having a round one bye. Alright, Spear of Helia. This is the White Weenie Mirror. Well, the Thraben Inspector is mono huge. And it can, amazingly enough, block the Fiend Hunter when it's sorted up. Yeah, it gets him to 2. Well, can he really afford to equip a sword here? He may have to just to block, but if he plays another threat... No, he doesn't have another threat. Okay. Well... Alright, well, looks like we're taking a quick break here. Maybe it's a sketchy hand that he wants to keep, but maybe can't. I don't know. I don't feel like Fred has removal here. If he does, if he drew it, very good for him. But, his idea... Okay, he gets to gain a life here. This is good. He gets to exile, one of the cards from his opponent's graveyard. And now he has enough power on the board to kill the Thraben Inspector, which is a good thing. There are a lot of draws that they get Golden Lyn out of this, though. I've never been really happy with Emeria, the Sky Ruin, and White Weenie. I just never feel. I feel like I'd rather have Geddons, and if I have Geddons, I feel like I can't run Emeria. And if I really need that effect, I'll put in sort of Light and Shadow. I sometimes have boarded it in the past when I really thought I was going to see a lot of White Weenie. Because it's great there, obviously. But okay. Well, this is a big game. This would mean that if he double blocks, he loses everything. The Throbbing Inspector would still die, and he would be dead to backswing. But he has 4 cards in hand. You most certainly attack here. And if he double blocks, the Thraben Inspector will die, but everything else goes to the bin as well. Alright, what's going on here? Alright, well, big mana. Big mana go. And actually, since it looks like we're going to be playing in finals, even though we had a round 1 bye, we may just draw this one, because, guys, I'm feeling miserable. Like, I do really enjoy these tournaments. It's my favorite way to play the game, but I'm just not feeling well today. It's been a hard couple days. This chest cold or whatever I've got. Well, we shall see. Maybe the other player won't want to. I don't know why they wouldn't want to draw it, because they'll probably beat me on points. Having a round 1 bye is not going to do me many favors that way. And I'm not keeping any prizes anyway, so drawing is still going to give them the Containment Priest, which is the top prize for this tournament. Alright, well... Oh, he drew Unmake. Okay. Yep, Chumperinos. Well, Emeria will never come to fruition at this point. And, well, here's the thing. Like, here's the thing. Total Eight's deck can win from nowhere. I don't know if he has like an Emrakul or something in deck. I'm surprised he hasn't just drawn cards with the Garruk. Like, 3 cards is just still a lot. Especially on a deck that is going to have a more difficult time drawing cards, and his cards are going to be like bigger bombs. Alright, Chandra is good. I don't think she's what you want here. I think you need something more combo-oriented, like Escape Shift, to win this one. Alright, well, he's got 2 mountains in play. I don't know if that precludes him from scape shifting. I know, at some point he's going to want to have less. Play that land off the ropes if you can. I think he's already played his 2, though. Alright. So at this point, he can't really kill this turn. Can he? Outside of Craterhoof Behemoth. That's why, honestly, I would look to draw just to see if you can win the game this turn, because his outs are comboing you out, probably at this point. Yep, there you go. So you're going to draw 3. What 2 cards entered the revealed zone? Nothing good. So that's at least good for T-Hate. Alright, we know he has Arbor Elf, some other random elf, Avacyn's Pilgrim, yeah. He has a ton of cards in hand, though. And 2 of those. Yeah, I mean, if he has Craterhoof, it's just game. Or Green Sun Zenith for Craterhoof, or Court of Calling for Craterhoof. Or Green has a lot of tutors. Or Fierce Empath for it. Alright, Nissa's Pilgrimage is kind of irrelevant here, I think. He will have Spell Mastery, though, so he can get 2 or more. It's 3 lands, right? Alright. So he has at least 4 lands in hand. There comes this big old fellow. You get rid of the treetop on top, which I think is not a bad thing. Alright, the land will come off, and then he'll get to draw something hopefully decent for him. Yeah, it looks like green ramp is winning, but I don't know. We shall see. Now, some of these... All right, they're killing Nahiri. So I don't think he needs Nahiri at this point. So land off top. Land on top for T-Hate, but he's got another land. Another land. Brainstorm would be a good one to draw here with the fetch, especially if he hasn't found a way to win yet. So he's probably dead next turn. Well, I gotta relook. You know, the Garrett can't draw again, so if his opponent misses, no, he's passing it. I'm gonna attack the Garruk. I don't know. Maybe he has like Living Death. What does that get back for his opponent? Nothing. For him, it gets back Snapcaster Mage. It's not horrible. I mean, Snapcaster doesn't do anything, but it would at least buy him a lot of time. And I have to read this card, because Living Death would actually work. So at the beginning of your end step, manifest card, sacrifice until end of turn. This creature dies. Yeah, technically they would die, because it's sacrifice, which in the end goes to die, or it does die. Alright, do you have it? Because he's at 9 lands, which is more than enough with enough mountains to win the game with. Especially if he's running Vesuva to double up on his Valakut triggers. There's a lovely Bring to Light. No, just a Verdict, so just to buy some time. I mean, he's just going to pop his Whisperwood Elemental and manifest a bazillion cards. I believe this is non-token, right? Yeah, so he'll get, what, 4 or 5? 5 of them? 5 2/2s? It's actually not per se great, unless now he has, like, Living Death wouldn't work. Unless he has, like, Damnation now, afterwards. Which he may. Or maybe a Moat. Moat, I don't think he runs a Moat in this deck, though, and he couldn't cast it now. He can cast Damnation. Do we have Damnation as well? I assume you have to have a follow-up, because that's just, that's very close to killing you next turn. And if any one of those is... Well, I guess Crater Hoof needs to be played. Alright, Recurring Nightmare, bringing back the Baleful Strix, I would assume. Because it draws him a card, and which gets him into, what, Acidic Slime, unless he's shuffled. I can't remember if he's shuffled or not. Alright, so a bazillion 2/2s. With a 3/3 attacker in Treetop Village. Creating a 3/3. So, like, let's do the math here. This is 10 plus whatever. There's going to be one of them that he can flip. And if he's going to activate the Treetop and just flip, you know, and hope that his opponent doesn't block the best one. But a lot of green creatures just going to have Trample anyways, so I think it's over. Alright, yeah, and they all have Intimidate, I guess. Well, not all of them do, just the green ones. Alright, so he didn't hit anything great off the manifest, then I assume. And he has to essentially win the game next turn. If he cannot win the game next turn, then he just loses. Yeah, I think you just take here, honestly, because you'll live. There's not much he can do after the combat step to kill you. Yeah, and 2 is no different in this case. And you want to have Recurring Nightmare possibly live to see if you can draw into an out here. Alright, yep. We're going to use Recurring Nightmare again to get what? To get Snapcaster on Supreme Verdict. Okay. Yeah, so this is what he'll do. He'll, if he has another land, he can do it twice. Or he can get back the Strix, which is not bad. So, Snapcaster, recursing the Supreme Verdict. There's a lot of value. It's very sweet. And it can certainly get there. It's just he cannot give his opponent another turn here. I honestly think he wanted to leave Wasteland open unless he's sacking another land so he can do this again, because the Treetop Village is actually lethal. And Wasteland could have stopped that, but I don't know. I think that was a misplay. I could be wrong there. Alright, well, what do we have to keep you alive? Kitchen Finks? Courser. Well, Courser can block Treetop Village all day long, which is good. Pretty crazy when you see the green decks up on cards. Alright, 3/3, probably no attack. Probably just play more Play more critters out? Nope. Okay. Stoneforge is a very good card, obviously, but Well, now he will be forced to use the Wasteland if he. What does he need to do here? Huh. He really needs Escape Shift, but I don't think he has access to that. If he did, he would have done it a while ago. Alright, Acidic Slime. Probably blowing up the treetop. That's probably the right play. I think you probably Wasteland the Nykthos here. Maybe not. Maybe you don't have to. This will recurse the Strix, and then the Strix will turn back into the Acidic Slime. There's a lot of value, so like this could get there. I'll be drawing a lot of cards. So draw into Stoneforge. I don't think you cast Stoneforge this turn. Lightning Helix is actually very strong as well, because it allows you to do direct damage to deal with the Garruk. Alright, back to Acidic Slime. And hope your opponent doesn't mise too well and, find the Crater Hoof or Primeval Titan or something. All of which I believe are castable. Yes, they are. Both of those are. Huh. Alright, Recurring Nightmare. Well, the old slime of the Acidic. And Strix just grinding out value. Yeah, you obviously do not want to draw. Totally wins the match. Yeah, I mean, you run like a bazillion lands. That can happen. Alrighty. Well, let me ask Total Hate if he wants to play it out. Is anyone else playing still? Sensei and Goblin Hero. Alright. Let's check this one out, guys. Well, If this is anyone's game, yeah. This is, well, wait, let's see here. Where are we at? Goblin's end step? Well, if you didn't draw a 3 damage burn spell, you die, right? I assume that the Stigma Lasher got to get a strike in. Enlightened Tutor for, what, a sword or something like that? I don't know. If his last card's a counter spell, Control Magic, okay. A little fancier than I go. I just bounce it with Jason, swinging for lethal, but, I mean, if he has burn, he's going to cast it, right? Like, he's not going to wait until his opponent's extra draw step. Not to mention Tutor. So, the game's over here. Sensei's won. I guess I spoke too soon. I just saw the life totals. I was like, oh, shit, well, you know. Could draw Bolt. Alright, they're going to a game 3. Alright, yep, and we're waiting. Alright, quick pause, guys, while we wait for them to get back to the game. Alright, guys, we're back for this last round between Goblin Hero and the Sensei. So, I think typically Sensei will be favored against Red Deck Wins, but he is on the draw. And Red Deck Wins just sometimes wins, right? Alright, Stone Right. I've never cared for that card. I mean, it's not bad, don't get me wrong, but even nowadays, like, this effect can be replicated with better cards like, I can't think right now, Lightning Berserker. Alright, well, if he doesn't have another land, get up a shady one, but this is fast. Against hard control, generally what you want is a lot of these early threats. I don't think Sensei's hard control, though. I think he's more tempo. Wow, he kept a one-lander? Well, and he led on Stone Right. I guess, yeah, I don't underestimate Sensei enough to think that he would burn an STP on a Stone Right before he would. You know, I guess you could do that, but I think it's just better to optimally play the cards and play the Monastery Swiftspear first. Well, if he hasn't taken like Wrath effects out of his deck, this draw that Goblin Hero has just gets owned by Wrath effects. Oh, gain a random life. I guess that is one nice thing about Crypt of the Eternals, rather. I don't think it's a good card. Sensei, I don't know why you play that silly thing, but whatever. You know. And here's the funny thing. Like, now he can just block the Monastery Swiftspear, which I would probably do. And then the Goblin doesn't have to attack every turn, right? And then you have another blocker for Stone Right? Yeah, it's pretty good. Even though, like, Goblin Rabblemaster's not a card you would think would be good against Red Deck Wins, I think it's going to actually work out here. Unless it gets, like, shocked or whatever. But we know he can keep it off land, so if he doesn't have, like, you know, like a 1-mana burn spell of any sort, which I don't think he has. I think maybe he does. I don't know. I think he just kept a bunch of 1-drops. Alright, he drew it. Alright, he drew it, so now he could kill the Rabblemaster, and it's probably a lot less good. You just block the Swiftspear here, I think. Force him to do it. It also means he won't pump the Stone Right, and I don't think the Rabblemaster is getting any better. I guess this also forces his opponent to tap his mana at least once to block here, or to pump this to a range that will kill the Rabs. Oh, Beb. Yikes. Well, that being the case, I almost like better just trading there, but I guess it could outrace him. Could just outrace his Red Deck Wins opponent. Yeah, I could. Alright, well, I get behind it. It's just kind of weird to block it and then Beb it in response. I guess it is the trickiest line because your opponent's going to be like, well, he blocked it, you know. Why would he now use removal on it? Which kind of screws up combat math, but eventually the Grimmy... Oh, well, Grim's gone. Alright, red deck wins losing now. It didn't get enough done in the early turns. You really need like 2 to 3 lands on red deck wins to win with it. You Alpha Strike. No? I like the Alpha Strike there. Just race. Just tell him, hey, deal with my Rabble Master and kill my Chandra in the same turn. Because I don't think he will. Then you could draw off Chandra, find more. Alright, Harsh Mentor. Well, that hoses Chandra, right? No, it doesn't. It's creature or artifact, so he can't make mana off Boros Signet. Ranger Veos, not bad here. Could get Walking Ballista and Mother of Runes. Both be strong. And this is looking pretty good for Sensei here. He's going to get to do a sizable chunk of damage to his red deck wins opponent. I don't know why you wouldn't block the other Goblin with Harsh Mentor here, but okay. So obviously not running Walking Ballista, which is actually interesting to me. I kind of started thinking about it. I wonder why more decks don't run it in this format. And you know, I think the reason is because most of the good decks are either fast aggro, which are not going to get to mana, or don't run the cards to make decent amounts of mana early and fast, or incremental kind of mid-rangey decks that are looking to, you know, one-for-one exchange and or play very efficient threats. And Walking Ballista, unless you're on like a big mana deck like, you know, Stacks, or like in some decks where like you had like what was the Snakes deck where, you know, it would get extra counters or come in with double counters. It's tough to really get as much value as you want out of it. But I think, you know, I probably should have considered it for the ramp deck I was running. And I think in a lot of ramp decks, it's actually pretty decent, especially if like your opponent has green hosers or something like that. Like, it can get pretty big in a ramp style deck. Like in my deck where I had like the 2 cradle draws against Sung, which was, you know, extremely lucky. But when I have draws like that where I can play like 14 mana and spells, a 7/7 Walker not Hangerback Walker, but Walking Ballista is pretty disgusting. Hangerback Walkers are more of a value card, I'd say. All right, he's going for just a strike here. I guess he's going to try to kill the Chandra. Well, now he's flooded after his initial, you know, kind of creature-heavy draw. And I don't really think he has burn in hand, 'cause I think he would have killed... I would have killed the Rabble Master a while ago. It's just me. Rabble Master's a way to win, and when you're on red deck wins, like, you want to win fast, but you know, against a slower deck like this, you also just don't want to you don't want to give them ways to win. I guess what I'm saying. And Rabblemaster can win pretty quickly too. If it's an unanswered card, or if it's unanswered over enough time, it's pretty bad. All right, Skull Crack, which is kind of not being used to its optimal effect here, but hey. So, the Ashandra will die, but it leaves him with 5 cards in hand and 3 1/1s and more life. So, yeah, red deck wins to concede right now. There are not really draws out of this. I don't think. I mean, if he has like straight stone garbage in hand on his 5 cards, then yes, there are, but I never assume my opponent on a 3-color Jeskai Tempo deck has straight garbage. Yeah, that's not garbage. You're going to top deck him? I almost like top decking him better just because you know he's on 1 card and it keeps your Jace out of burn range. But it also depends on what you got. Plus, he's low on time. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to come to time here. I think 4 minutes and 30 seconds is way more than enough time to resolve this game in one way or the other. But it's a thing. We did just see the game between Dots and Saknala's a round ago come to fruition that way. Excuse me, guys. Alright, well. Alright, we're going to return this thing, which cannot be countered. It has to either be blocked or... Yep, no, Counterspell will not do it against Unearth. That's one cool thing about Unearth. I mean, one, it's red deck wins card advantage. You can block with a Gabo, though. Oh, the Bush Whacker. You can counter this and then just block. No, it doesn't care. If he kills his Jace, though, does he really give a crap about that either? It means no damage is coming his way. But I guess he only has to send 1 at Jace. You're gonna... Oh, Pester Mite. Cool. We may just have the combo win. Which hopefully his opponent is cool and doesn't make him, like, tap through it. That is certainly a way that can essentially counter an unearthed Hellspark Elemental. There are ways. It just doesn't involve any card that says counter target spell on it. Alright, well. He's looking to combo him out here, I think. He's got the red mana necessary. Although, I mean, it may just be faster just to top him, my thinking, but, whatevs. Jay's such a monster, though. I mean, when you have an open board or a very close to open board situation like this, and you're on 14 life against red deck wins on 1 card, essentially hellbent with a Jace. Let me just say this: Goblin Hero is a more stalwart player than I am. I would have conceded a while ago, or maybe he's less experienced at being under Jace lock. I don't know. Not a huge fan of Keranos. I mean, the card, don't get me wrong, the card is very good. I just think it has a hard time finding a home. Because it essentially says, I do nothing the first turn I come into play. I do absolutely nothing. You know, after that it's great. But you have to ask yourself, where is this actually good? And really where it's good is against control, if you're able to resolve it. Excuse me again, guys. Well, he was hoping to do 3 damage there so he could just kill the Kiln Fiend. He bounces it, which makes sense. Alright, Mother of Runes. Then he has lethal next turn with the Fumarole. He bounce, then Fumarole. Unless the Jace gets killed somehow. Well, if he has like a remand, you just use it here. 1 threat on the board is fine. Alright, you're just going to memory lapse this again. Alright, this game's over. Now you just concede. There's absolutely no way, unless he like misclicks. Alright, he's going to beb it. Okay. I would have just memory lapsed it for mana efficiency probably, but whatever. Yep, okay. Cool. Alright, guys, quick break here. Alright, guys, round 4 is underway. We're not going to be playing this round. We'll just be observing and commenting on some of the games. So this is 4-color blood versus mono green ramp. This really could go either way, and it really depends on how the green deck is built. Now, as you saw, the green deck is capable of having some very dead-end draws. Big mana dead-end draws. And 4-color blood is very disruptive. The green deck can also just go way over the top of the 4-color blood deck, though. So, kind of similar to like what our deck did to Saknalis' deck, but without as much low-end interaction against the aggro matchups. All right, Mana Dork. And when you lose red, you also lose Mana Disruption, which we also had available to us. All right, Cobra. Responds on 3. What does 3 do? Tireless Tracker, Courser. Probably the 2 better cards. Oran Viper, not a big deal. You just have to kill the thing. You have to be able to block it or kill it. You obviously don't want the green deck drawing more cards, because that is not good. Alright, he'll chump block this with 1/1s, my assumption would be. Or he could just double block it, I don't know. Probably doesn't do that, though. That's kind of a loss of value there. Alright, so, Sensei versus Sung. 4-color blood versus, essentially, Jeskai Tempo Splash Black. For, like, Lingering Souls, I think. Alright, old Karakas. Destroy the token? Yeah. Alright, well, 4 mana is getting scarier. Alright, Oracle of Mooly Dooly. Well, if that card can string some lands together, that gets spooky. He only has 1 in hand, which means he has gas, plus Wiltleaf coming. Wiltleaf is not scary, other than for Devotion. Really needs to cast something else relevant here. Because right now he's kind of stymied the Oran Viper, but he's not presenting a clock, which is what you need to do. Like, you need to hope they dead draw for a couple turns, which they will. I mean, like, green decks, mono green decks can dead draw pretty heavily. Alright, I just heard someone losing life over here. Oh, they're just fetching. Alright. I think these 2 games are going to be the most interesting of those that are kind of in the X1 bracket. Alright, so what do we got? Oh, Queen Marchesa. Well, that is not a bad one. Especially with an Elspeth. And even getting hit and getting the 1/1 Death Touchers is actually really good against green decks. I think you want to attack with one of those 2 creatures, I think, there. Marchesa is such a beating of a card, too. Like, God, that card's just a beating. So he has no lands to play this turn, so he's stuck on 5 mana unless he has a Mana Dork to ramp himself on the following turn. So Deus, outside of getting a pocket of lands, is not going to be castable. So actually, I think for setting up the turns after this, all right, Courser, but that does nothing right now with Oracle in play. Oracle maybe... He had a land in hand. That's okay, he already played one last turn, I guess. So he just had a land in hand. All right, gain some life. I mean, he's got to break this because... All right, yeah. He's got to break this at some point. Gonna trade. Okay. I mean, I would probably just double block with the Soldier in the Lotus Cobra at this point. 4 lands, mana's perfect. Unless he has like 2 cards he wants to cast next turn, Lotus Cobra is getting less and less relevant. Although he's drawing quite a few. All right, the 3/4 with a Vigilance. Well, we shall see. Like I said, Sugnalis is getting a lot of value here, but not really putting him under a clock. And that's one of the riskier lines against Ramp, because, I mean, they could just get mono-huge nonsense like Primeval Titans or Crater Hoofs, or I guess even Deus of Calamity is pretty big. And it tramples, which means you can't really chump it out very well. And 6 is bigger than most. It's bigger than I think everything in that deck, in the 4-color blood deck. 6/6 is just. I'm trying to think if you can make a 6/6 in that deck. Knight of the Reliquary is the only thing that could become a 6/6 in that deck. Or I'm sorry, Tarmogoyf and Knight of the Reliquary are the only single creatures. I mean, you got combinations of double blocks and pump effects off Elspeths and stuff that would do it, but not when you're looking to block. It looks like he's trying to play the defensive role right now. Well, Deus is now castable. Lingering Souls is interesting. I think you attack with the Marchesa here. I mean, even if it just trades with something, like you're getting something off the board. And maybe he doesn't have to. Maybe he can just, kill the Glintleaf Cavalier and force a double block, which would mean both of those creature cards die, which is pretty good. Marchesa is also a way to deal with Deus because of the Death Touch clause. I always forget the Death Touch part of her is a card because, I don't know, I don't understand the flavor behind it. Maybe she's a poisoner or something. I don't friggin' know. Is this an Abrupt Decay? Yes, it was. That makes sense to me. I like that play. So he's got 2 mana remaining right now to possibly play another threat. Well, looks like he's going to go for it too. Let's check in on this other game. Alright, we've got a Fact or Fiction pile, which I assume is Sensei's, because he is a Fact or Fiction sort of person, and I don't think her deck can cast it. Voltaic Brawler. That's aggro as heck, man. I like where your head's at. Now we have a Sin Prodder. Not a card I'm a huge fan of in non-red deck wins decks. It's just really slow, and for 3 mana, it's a lot. I mean, it is a good card. I just often find that I can't fit it into decks. I mean, I considered it for this red-green deck I was playing today, but it just didn't make the cut. It just wasn't like a big beefy critter, or a card that finds a big beefy critter. Like, I think that deck is just happier with Fierce Empath because it relies so much on just very few cards. Like essentially 4 cards in that deck win it the game. Inferno Titan, Primeval Titan, Tarka, those are really it. I mean, those are the big ones. Like, you expect to win with those cards in that deck. And then, there's other good 5-drops that can do the same thing, but they're just a little more incremental. Those cards just kind of like say, like, hey, I win. If you get it on the board and, like, you're not dying already, you're probably going to win. Well, Sin Prodder, I'm assuming is going to do a lot of damage. Well, 4CB can have terrible matchups, I guess is one thing I'd say just reading through their dialogue here. But it requires that the opponent deliberately builds a deck that is predatory towards it, which is also worse, like a lot worse, like has like some bad matchups in a more open meta. Like the red-green deck I'm playing today, I think is like not a deck I would ever bring to like a 100-player, 100-card singleton tournament or a German Highlander tournament. I just wouldn't because I don't think it's as good as some other decks. Four Color Blood, for instance. I mean, but when I know my meta is going to be a bunch of white weenie decks, maybe 1 to 2 red deck wins decks, 2 to 3 Four Color Blood decks, I'm going to bring that every time because, like, I'll just cast Tarka's Inferno Titans, and, like, what are you going to do, you know? Like, I mean, you kind of saw it against Soong, which she's not on 4 Color Blood. She's on, a 3 color deck, just a Jund deck, which I've always wanted to make Jund work. I just always felt like the mana was already stretched enough that, like, why not just put some white in there? Because, like, white has some great cards, just the best removal, and, like, some cool hate cards as well. So yeah, I mean, like, red-green is actually, I think, would be considered a bad matchup for red deck wins, but it's just really bad against anything that runs blue permission in it, right? Like, that's why, like, my board has, like, Choke, Thrun, Guttural Response, stuff like that. Like, the Blast package on the red side. It's bad against, like, stuff like Bribery, because, I mean, if they Bribery your Inferno Titan or Primeval Titan, you're probably just going to lose, because now you no longer have it. So we're going to get Treasure Cruised here, up to 8. Well, Soong's going to have to out-tempo him here. She's not going to outvalue him, I don't think. Just too many cards. This feels like well, maybe not. I was going to say Johnny. A Johnny or Lightning Helix is what I'm feeling. I see red and white mana in this format. All right, just Kitchen Finks. Kitchen Finks is good for him, though, because it puts some ground pounders in there to block. And gains him some much-needed life to kind of race. 1 second, guys. I'm really sorry about that. Oof. So, if she could have a removal spell at end step, like a Terminate is a viable cast here. She would never go for the Throat, or at least I don't think. This is going to get an odd card, which is going to be... Well, actually, may get Sword. Let's get a Sword here. Crucible does not seem good to get. Oh, Shackles. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess I didn't think he would have that in his deck, and because of the mana, the way it is. But it's not bad here. It's 4, so that can steal, a random Sin Prodder to kind of get rid of that value for a Root-Bound Craig. Well, yeah, 4 color blood if given time. All right, Woodland Bellower. That's going to get Fierce Empath into what? He's got some suboptimals in this. So mono green ramp it can be a very budget deck. Like Staff of Nin is a good card. And I've actually run that card in Vintage randomly enough, like a singleton in the sideboard for like stacks at some point in time in the history, like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. I don't remember whenever it first came out. I forget why it was in the board. I'm trying to remember. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just Commander. I don't know. But I think Staff of Wind was like a sideboard card, sideboard tech against Pyromancer decks. Could be wrong on that because you can cast on turn 1 pretty reliably in that format. Well, turn 2 is very reliable. Turn 1's possible. Woodland Bellower is going to be very big here, though. Well, if he has the mana. Yeah, he does. So he'll get Fierce Empath with this. And if he has the Crater Hoof, he'll probably look to try to win that way. Which means that Sugnalis is going to have to try to close the game out very rapidly on this next turn. Which he has a 4-power attacker that, rips cards out of hands. Alright, just Reclamation Sage, getting the sword. Okay, well, yeah, that's... I have Woodland Bellower in my deck just because it essentially gets another win con, and it's sizable enough. I mean, it's a 6/5, which is like kind of whatever. But the fact that it can get Fierce Empath or Magus of the Moon, or I suppose Rex Sage, but really like those two cards, like I'm either gonna lock an opponent out with it, like it just wins against it. Like Magus of the Moon probably just beats Sugnalis, or I'm gonna get Fierce Empath and just grab my Atarka or my Inferno Titan and just slam it, and just rip them apart. Which is kind of how I see that card, is really just a way to find those two cards, which can find other cards. So, It's weird because like you think of green as being like a very creature centric format, and it is, but in this format, it actually also has some of the better tutors available to it. You know, you look at Eldamri's Call, Worldly Tutor, Green Sun Zenith, Court of Calling, Eldritch Evolution, which you saw me cast, Natural Order, even Traverse the Ulvenwald to an extent, Fierce Empath, Woodland Bellower. Like it's kind of crazy, like how far green cards have come. And you start looking at like the mid-range green cards, like Courser, the card just bonkers. Ramunap, just bonkers. Tireless Tracker, like on a whole new level of bonkers. That card's just nuts. It's just like, oh, this card wins the game on its own and draws me cards. Like, you know, and also just gets randomly bigger when it draws me cards. Pretty sweet, you know. It's not efficient, but it's very, very good. All right, so we have an 11-5 Lava Claw Reaches coming in. I assume that's going to get blocked by something. Oh, it flies. All right, well, you're going to get hit for lethal. So yeah, this is kind of what we were saying he had to do. He had to kill him fast. He didn't get what I thought he would get, which I figured was going to be the Fierce Empath here, but eh. All right, Psychnologist gets him. I think this is a pretty 50-50 matchup. I think once you add red to the equation and get the land hate, the lock pieces and land hate, and I really do think like this matchup for my deck at least, the 4-color blood matchup comes down to having Blood Moon, having Magus of the Moon, and then having Atarka and Inferno Titan. Like those cards, and Primeval Titan too. Like I don't think the lock pieces can be beat. The rest of it, probably not. Like it's just too much. It's too much value. It's too huge. You know, it's too much of a swing against a deck that really is looking to like one-for-one exchange and is kind of just incremental value as opposed to just like windmill slam. You know, like I win value, which is what RG's about, and what Ramp's about too. But it has to have the draw. So you got tempoed out here by the red deck. All right, you know, I kind of figured she looked like she was probably getting beat up on this one. Once he was able to get the Shakles in online, and it looks like he just comboed her out, which is good. So I think this could go either way too, though. I think Jund has the right tools to fight against Jeskai, but I think vice versa. I think it's a 50-50 matchup or close, depending on how some of their choices look. I know he runs Bribery main, which I've never agreed with. I think I've only ever sideboarded that card in this format. You could prove me wrong, go through my old deck list, and maybe I main decked it one time, but like I don't think so, because like there's just never been like that many Reanimator and Ramp decks running around where I wanted it. Like I wanted enough main because I figured I'd hit 50% of my matchups and be great in. You know, right now it's horrible because it's like 50% of your matchup. Like you flip a coin and you're probably going to fight a white weenie or red deck wins deck or 4-color blood deck. 4-color blood, their creatures are all good, but they're generally good together. And they're not worth an entire turn, a time walk essentially, and a tap out in a control style deck. I don't tend to think, because you're essentially giving them a time walk and a free spell. They get to cast spell under permission, generally speaking. So let me make sure no one in chat is trying to get me for anything. No. Oh, good night, man. Sorry about that. I haven't really been paying attention to chat. I've kind of been watching these. All right. Well, turn 1 elf. That's generally good against blue decks. All right, we're quick to board here. Well, GQ1R17. And dude, I'm just gonna start calling you GQ. That's a mouthful to say. It's a lot of syllables. GQ here has the first Planeswalker, which is a good. Could see it get burned off. I don't know. Oh, at 8 Grim Flare. What it did. I believe now flip cards actually have the CMC of their other side. I think that was a rules change. So I don't believe Abrupt Decay would work against Garruk here, although at one point in the game it would have. I have to look that one up though. I haven't really come into an interaction where that was extremely relevant. But it would for like Abrupt Decay or Fatal Push in some cases. All right, this is Anafenza or Doran? No, okay, maybe not. Alright, just the Mana Dork. Well, he gave a little bit of information away there. I put him on a 4/4 or essentially a 0/5/5/5 in hand. But he also has a 4-mana Planeswalker in hand, and he's trying to get value out of it, so he doesn't want to just go aggro right here. Alright, Coercive Portal. So he's got all kinds of like random card drawing effects in his deck. Coercive Portal is another one of those cards that in some decks I think you want it. Like if you're playing like stacks, it's not bad, but I tend to eschew it in most of my builds because it does nothing the turn it comes into play. There are cards I make exception for, like Sylvan Library, even though I don't run it in every green deck. I don't even think it's in this deck, technically. The deck I was running today, which that may be wrong. It actually may be an effect you want in that deck, because you don't have a lot of ways to manipulate. Well, you have a lot of tutors, but It allows you to keep shady hands. Alright, well, now he's just playing a bunch of Mana Dorks. So, he drew a Mana Dork this turn, I'm almost assured, because I think he would have just... No, I guess he couldn't have played out just one of them, but he would have played out... I think he drew the Sylvan Caryatid, because the Sylvan Caryatid's a better play on the last turn than the Servant of the Conduit is. Well, a lot of mana on both sides here. But I think cards and Planeswalker and Tutor Effect off the Garruk are going to see through GQ here. I think he's at least favored right now. That could turn or change, but I don't know. He also has a higher dead draw count. Alright, well, this looks like... Why? Interesting. So we countered the Bogartan Ram Gang. And, interesting. And then sacrificed his own Thopter Foundry to block the elves? Meh. I don't know. I mean, at this point, the control player's on the ropes. Soong is very favored here. Even a Wrath effect leaves behind a 3/2 plus another 1/1, a fresh 1/1 off Bitter Blossom. Moat doesn't do it. Yep. That's not bad. It's good value, but Bitter Blossom is like infinite value. If you've never played with the card Bitter Blossom, I know like it gets a lot of shit in Cube because it's an incremental card, and like I even talked crap on it when like my Reanimator opponent played it against me and I was on an Oath deck. Because, frankly, that was just bad. But, oh, he had Force of Will in hand. But Bitter Blossom in, like, incremental mid-range matchups like this against control is just great. The only place it's really bad is against, like, combo and aggro. Other than that, like, everything in the middle or on the top end, it's just phenomenal against because it's a recurring threat that never stops making, you know, and it geometrically gets bigger every turn if they don't deal with it, at a 0-for-1 card exchange rate, which is just not good. That's a good way to deal with it, though. That's actually a very good way of dealing with it. Unless she has, like, Dreadbore or something, I think she'll have a tough time dealing with that, actually. Or a way to, like, pump all of her dummies. It's actually very cool. So, no attacks, really, because this thing's going to shrink to a 1/1. Due to Jace, and then get get blocked by the Flametongue Kavu and then come back. She has Fatal Push in hand, would be my guess, though. Wanted to get rid of the Kavu? I don't know. Okay. That's the combo that she got beat up by on Seknalis, by Seknalis' deck the last tournament I think I watched. Yep, he goes ahead and calls it here because he can't deal with the Garruk, and the overrun effect is going to be too great. Yeah, there's the Titan. There's the card that washes away hopes and dreams of 4-color blood decks everywhere. So really, like, what are the cards I consider like the best to beat 4-color blood? Like, you can try to lock them out, like you can back to basics them, all that stuff, but they have Mana Dorks, and they generally can cast spells through a lot of lock pieces. I think the best cards to actually beat them is Primeval Titan, Inferno Titan, Elsbeth Sun's Champion, Atarka, Those are my favorites, probably. Like, my favorite win cons against them. Like, you just put them on the board and, like, all right, dude, like, you're dead. Like, how do you beat this? And he got it there, but, I mean, he's forcing his opponent to react as opposed to do things, which is great, because you got a Garruk. He's going to draw 4 cards, essentially. He has a tutor effect in Garruk, the whatever this is, Veil Cursed, which can actually also pump to a sizable... Actually, he could just pump next turn, couldn't he? So if he pumps, it's +3/+3, making 12 power of attackers with, I guess, a sizable amount of blockers on the other side. The fact that you can actually have multiple Planeswalkers of the same name in play now actually is a big boon to a lot of the monocolor decks, because it used to kind of be bad to play so many Garruks, for instance. Now you can just have infinite of them. Well, as many as there have been printed, not the same copies, but different Planeswalkers of the same name, which is probably pretty good. What did he get here? He got a Deus and a Boreal Druid. Deus is not bad. Deus is at least size huge. I can see just making another wolf here, and looking to pump next turn. Alright, a bazillion mana. Well, for what? Oh, Plow Under? That's savage. Yep, alright, yep. So, the 2 matches I said I thought would be the coolest have so far been 1-1 matches, which is always good to see. I mean, good 1-1 matches. I think the ones that I played against Suung were kind of bad. That was a bad 2-1 or 1-1 at the start match. Because the first game I just kept a shadier hand and didn't get really rewarded for it. She had enough tempo and speed to kind of play, just... I couldn't do much. After I made the bad decision of keeping it, I couldn't really make any good decisions to win the game. And then I drew well in the following games and did what my deck wanted to do in the following games, and just, it worked. So I wouldn't say either of them were extremely interactive games, but I think these will tend to be. Oop, come on now. Alright. The play is very relevant in the green versus 4-color blood matchup as well. This as well, because, I mean, Suung is definitely more aggressive than Sensei is. Sensei is more value-based. Alright, good start for Saknalas. Just a little bit of ramp. Can go a long ways. Also, depending on the hand that GQ has, I mean, discard is also pretty important, because if he has, like... There are some miser cards in mono green, like, just Natural Order is kind of just good game. This is a Tidal Sculler. Yep. Which is similar. That's why he set up the birds turn 1. Well, let's take a look at what his hand is, so we can kind of think through how we think this game's going to go. So he's got 2 mana ramp right now. The greedy line is to take the 2 mana ramp, like a Sylvan Caryatid or like... No, he doesn't. He kept a very slow hand. The Vorpade is just huge, though. But, I mean, it dies to, like, what, Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares in the deck. Or just in a Johnny Tap or something like that. I just think I have Vigilance. Yeah, it does. Alright. Oh, he did have 2 mana ramp. I just didn't see it in the revealed cards. Oh, did she mull the 0? Oh, no. Okay. I was like, what? How is that possible? You build better decks than that. Maybe your luck's that dark. I don't know. Some days I guess it is. All right, Saknalas gets him. All right, cool. Well, good job, Saknalas. I'm glad you were able to pull out a good X1 finish. All right, so do we have any more games going on? No, that's completed. Everyone else finished fast. Like, I knew they would. They're on aggro decks. Like, someone's just going to overwhelm the other opponent, you know? Sounds like Force of Will. Possibly. I mean, Force of Will on 3 cards is not per se great. Alrighty. Alright, a Goblin, a Rabble, a Master. Cool. If it's not Force of Will and it's just counter spells, like, he'll probably counter this. If she misses land, that's not great for her. I think she wants to hit a land drop here. Uh-oh. Oh. 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 Oh, man. She could have, like, played that out untapped and, like taken the 2 and, like, feigned that she had, like, the Pyroclasm. I mean, he still would have done it. I would have, too. But actually, I think I would have played it regardless, just to play around Daze here. I think I like that line better from Sung. Sensei's a Daze miser, and he would have hardcast Daze there in a heartbeat if he thought he'd get it, or if he didn't, if he thought he'd get away with it. It is quite a beating. Getting 4 spiked is always beating. She would have been fine with it. Yeah, you were pitching it. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty apparent you were trying to get it countered there. But with draining the format, I mean, you got to be leery. All right, the old Prodder of Sins. Skull may be tough for her to beat. I don't know. I mean, Jund has a lot of answer cards. I mean, you got, like, you know, a lot of ways to answer artifacts. And just permanence in general. I don't think you block here. I would not care to block. I probably, depending on my hand, I'd probably pack it in there. Uh, Alrighty, so. Oh, my kid was like that too. She still is. She's a bad sleeper. Anyway, what do we have here? A game that's over. More than likely, yeah. JTMS is JTMS with a skull in early off of mana drain is pretty good. Alrighty. Anyway. Well, Johnny Rogue, I don't know if you watch my videos or not, man, but you'd be proud. I finally picked up the old red green. Yeah. All right, bounce and swing. Yeah, that is one way that he kind of gets himself into what I would call a hucklebuck here. Is she blocks and then bolts the Germ token and forces him on a lower mana situation to have to find lands here. And actually, it would have been quite a beating because then she could have dealt with Jace with Treetop of Village. So I think her hand is Bolt X plus the obvious, the 3/2 menace. So he has a counter spell, I believe. But I think you oblige here and just force him to use it. Yep. And memory lapse? Nope, nothing. Okay, interesting. Didn't leave the red mana open. Okay, well, she didn't have to. Dregmangler can block, then make the Prodder larger. The obvious issue is, though, I mean, Mother of Runes is just... I don't like Mother of Runes in Sensei's deck, but it's good here. I just don't care for it in a deck that has so few creatures, because, I mean, it's a very powerful card, but I really want to be running like 40 to 50 creatures if I'm running Mother of Runes. Like, just, I'm really banking on them to be the backbone of how I win. I don't really think Jeskai tends to. Like, they kind of win as a result of it. Like, Jeskai tempo a little more, but his deck feels more like a Jeskai value deck. You know, like, it's probably got cards like P and Kira Nalar, which is a card I thought I should have probably put in my build that I was running today of RG. I'm pretty sure it runs both Arc Slogger, which is a card that doesn't see a lot of play anymore, but used to be a very big 100-card singleton staple. It's still good because, I mean, like, you can do a lot of damage with that damn thing in this format. And then Siege Gang, I think, is in his deck. Kiki's, obviously, we saw that. Well, he could double block here to really no effect. We got his land drop that turn. He obviously drew with Jace. Well, I mean, a sword could be good because the birds do fly. Okay, well, Jace is now dead, which is actually pretty good for her. Given he's up on cards, Elves of Deep Shadow is not really what you want to be seeing right now. Huh. But I guess you do still play it out. I mean, if you have it, you play it out because it's another jump blocker.
Well, where do we stand now? Before we had Sung and Sensei, I think, both undefeated, but not undefeated, X1s. Oop, not here. OCP. Alright, Fred dropped, Math Guy dropped. Where do we look at? Well, I guess I'm going to take first. Which I didn't really, per se want to do through the draw, but I mean, the positioning really doesn't matter if you're getting a Containment Priest, I don't think. So Sensei was going in 7th seed. So he was the lowest seed in the X1 pile. And Sung was... He was the last seed. She was 2nd seed in the X1 pile. Okay, terminate. Alrighty. He probably... Alright, removal, Snapcaster, Mana Drain. Yuck. Alright, I think we're going to see a concession here, guys. Because I don't think this is particularly winnable. I mean, that was probably the strongest line of play she could make. He had a very strong draw. I mean, getting to play Jason Mind Sculptor, Batterskull, Mana Drain, twice is not bad. You really can't complain about that situation. Yeah, Mana Drain win this game. I think we'd say that. But you know what? I think, me personally, I'm fine with that. Mana Drain should win some games. It's like the natural order of that deck, right? I look at it that way. A lot of people don't. But I think control decks should have effects like that. They should have just not all incremental or one-for-one answers and permission. They should have, just some effects that can also just kind of break the game a little bit. Because some of the effects that... bribery? Alright, well... She has a Primeval Titan in her deck, so that's game. Yeah. Alright, guys. Let's go ahead and do the random lottery after everyone reports. And you know what, guys? I'm going to cut it here for the video, and I'll do the rest here for the tournament organization stuff off camera. Take care now, and I hope you guys all have a good New Year.